Hi, this is Jeff Owens from Bootstraps Toastmasters. Today I give my final speech before becoming a distinguished Toastmaster. I thought I'd use the opportunity to summarize what I've learned so far by being in Toastmasters. So today I'm going to explain to you how to prepare and deliver a speech in 5 easy steps. Those 5 steps are, first, to prepare your speech. Second is to write your speech. Third is to practice your speech. Fourth is to prepare on the day of your speech. And fifth is just simply to enjoy giving your speech. So the first step is to plan your speech. First thing you've got to do, pick a topic. And it should be a single detailed topic. Don't get bogged down and try to do multiple topics in one speech. Generally, you have 5 to 7 minutes. That's not a lot of time to deliver several messages. Then think about your audience. Who are you speaking to? This could help determine not only your topic, but how you're going to write your speech. Is it to your Toastmasters Club, which means it could be relatively informal, but what are their interests? You want to appeal to the interests of your audience. Consider your motives for speaking. Why are you giving this speech? Are you entertaining them, or do you have something to teach them, or are you challenging them to take action? That helps you decide the content of your speech. And think about your setting also. Is this a very formal speech at work with a lot of stakes writing on it? Or is this, again, at your Toastmasters Club, a little more informal, just something light and of interest to your various club members? Take all of these things into account and plan your speech. Then you want to sit down and write your speech. Start off with just one statement that you can write. This could be the opening of your speech. It could be a joke, a story. Personal stories are great if you can relate the material you're delivering to an experience you've actually had. But make that one POW statement that's really going to grab your audience. And then decide, related to your topic, what are 3 points you want to make. And just keep it at 3. In 5 to 7 minutes, that's all the time you're going to have. Decide whether you want to use visual aids. Sometimes those enhance a speech, but make sure you use them sparingly. You don't want them to overpower the content of your speech. Now, if you are giving a technical speech, you may want to prepare giving handouts, something that provides more detail than you can give verbally, and the audience can take it with them to refer to later. And then finally, write out a brief biography of yourself. Someone is likely going to introduce you in Toastmasters. We ask you to write a brief introduction about you and your speech before you come up and speak to the club. In a professional situation, someone's likely going to be introducing you, so do the same thing. Prepare a biography of yourself. So you've planned the speech now, and you have written it. Now let's practice it. And that is very important. I can't stress enough. For me, it is actually speaking the words that I've written so that when I give my speech, they sound familiar to me. I'm not saying something that sounds foreign and throws me off track when I'm speaking. You want to set a timer. In Toastmasters, we have time limits. In real life, if you speak, you're going to have limits on how long you can speak. Remember, speak slowly and clearly. Enunciate clearly. When you get up to speed, to speak, there's usually adrenaline pumping and you tend to talk faster. So just relax, take deep breaths, don't forget to breathe. Just like you're working out at the gym, don't forget to breathe. When you practice, if you have written your speech out, print it and write on it. As you speak words for the first time, you're likely going to want to change them. So have your speech handy with you to make notes and to make changes. If you can, record your speech, either audio or video. That's really the only way you can hear things that other people will hear or see things like an overuse of gestures that you wouldn't maybe realize unless you were watching yourself or listening to yourself speak. And then practice more than once. I would say I usually practice 3 times. First time, just to get familiar with the words. Second time, maybe I'm looking at the timer, making sure it's in time. And then at least a third time is just a final practice run before I deliver it. So we have prepared the speech, we've written it, and we've practiced it. Now it's time to give the speech. On the day of the speech, there are several things that you can do. You want to first dress appropriately. Like I've said a couple times before, who's your audience? Are you speaking at work? Maybe the dress code at work is shirt and tie. But if you're speaking to your Toastmasters Club, chances are it's more casual, and shirt and nice pants is appropriate. But dress appropriately for your audience. If you're speaking in an unusual place, you want to ask if you can do a sound check. Now this won't affect most of us speaking at Toastmasters. We're pretty used to the room where we meet. But what if you compete in a contest, or if you're asked to speak at another club? You've never been there before. It's every right of yours to get in there and see how your voice is going to sound in a new room. Decide what to do with your handouts. If you did decide you're going to have handouts, are you going to stop during your speech to hand them out? Are you going to ask someone ahead of time to pass them out for you at a certain time? Or are you just going to have them on the table for people to pick up? You need to decide what you're going to do with those so that it won't interrupt and distract your speech. Never hurts to have a glass of water. There's no rule that says you can't. If you start to get dry mouth, take a sip of water, pause at a point where you want to make a point in your speech, and take a sip of water. Nothing wrong with that. And then finally, when you're all ready to go, just take a deep breath, maybe take a quick glance in the mirror, make sure your shirt is buttoned properly and you don't have a smudge on your cheek or something. Just a confident look and smile at yourself, and then step out on stage. And so the final step then is just during your speech. This could be a whole different class in itself, but just a couple of points to remember. Try to keep eye contact with your audience, and not just one person. Look around the room at other people, and if it unsettles you to look directly at somebody, pick a point just above their head and look on the wall. They're far enough away that they probably can't tell you're not looking them directly in the eyes. Speak slowly, breathe normally, we mentioned that. If something goes wrong, for heaven's sakes, just laugh at yourself. That will put your audience at ease. If you fumble and you try to recover and you start sweating and then you start fumbling even more, that's just going to make your audience uncomfortable and they're not going to follow you. But if you laugh, they'll laugh with you, and you could move on to the rest of your speech. If possible, give your audience a chance to interact with you. If you're doing a speech where questions and answers at the end are appropriate, that's an excellent way to interact with your audience. And certainly in Toastmasters, when we have evaluations where someone is verbally evaluating your speech after the fact, that is a fantastic way to get feedback from your audience. So that's it. There are 5 easy steps to planning and delivering a great speech. First of all is to plan that speech. Second is to write it. Third is to practice. Practice, practice, practice. Fourth is prepare on the day of the speech. And then finally, relax and just enjoy giving your speech. Now, even though you're all Toastmasters, it can still be quite intimidating to give a speech when you find it that it's your turn. But don't worry, you'll be a pro in no time if you just follow these tips and these 5 steps that I've given you in today's video. Thank you very much for watching, and good luck.